The following chronicle is for mature audiences only. Be advised of content containing but not limited to religious satire, violence, gore, substance use, political extremism, kidnapping, abuse, sexual situations, and mind control.
Since the dawn of mankind, civilizations from the world over have documented the existence of what would later be known as vampires. Once mortal, but never more, these eternal beings have lived amongst mortals, feeding off of and controlling humanity. These are the stories kept secret from mankind. These are the Canaanite Chronicles.
Good evening. My name is JD Gunderson, and this is Canaanite Chronicles, a V5 based game that allows us to explore stories from not only different time periods, but also from different timelines. I will be your storyteller for tonight's game, but before we get into it, I would like to introduce our players for this evening's game and chronicle. Starting with Michelle, if you could introduce yourself, your character's clan, and a brief concept of who they are.
Hi, I am Michelle. I am playing Han. She is a Simitsi, and she is an organ trader operating in the black market.
Not an evil character at all. Next, Alisa, if you could describe to me, first introduce yourself and then describe to us your character, their name, and their clan.
Hi, my name is Elisa. I'm playing Octavia Perez. She's a Tremere. She's kind of laying low from her sire. And I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. I'm always loving playing vampire with this group of people. Last but surely not least, Joy, if you can introduce yourself, your character, and their clan, as well as their concept.
Hello, I'm Joey, or Reclaim Joey, and I play Landon Thatcher. He is Clan La Sombra, and he is your quintessential lazy slacker.
That seems like a little bit of heaven on earth, being lazy forever. I surely wouldn't mind that. But let's talk about what kind of game are we playing? Where, when, how, all those things. So I will do a little bit of a setting introduction here, and then we'll move into the actual scenario introduction. So our vampire story begins in the year 2017. The world is going through a technological revolution at the moment. The 21st century gave birth to things like the internet, which brought forth the age of information. Libraries of information are now available in everyone's pockets. Telecommunications provide instantaneous contact with anyone around the world. The overwhelming convenience is at times a gift and a curse. Now imagine being around for the last 300 years. The seemingly abrupt changes to the world would feel like traveling at light speed. Occasionally, humans like to seek refuge away from the busy world of emails and social media by vacationing in remote locations where they may relax in leisure while soaking in the vistas. The island of Corsica is such a place. The large, warm island is embedded in the Mediterranean Sea, located between the boot of Italy and the shores of southern France. An ideal vacation spot for any European and a beautiful escape for anyone looking to unplug. Whether you're looking to stay in a remote villa in the mountains or party at the beachside resorts, Corsica has you covered. A sunny holiday locale is probably the last place you would suspect to be the home of vampires. And that's exactly how the local blood drinking enthusiasts want it. The days are long and the nights are short, but the sustenance of blood is readily available. Vampires often devote themselves to a rigid caste system to maintain the agenda of keeping their true nature secret. Some of these shadow governments stretch all over the world, but not in Corsica. The laid-back nature of this island has translated onto the local vampires. The few that exist on this island have come to a mutual consensus: maintain the masquerade and respect each other's privacy. Now, as far as our scenario for tonight, we begin our story on a warm summer night. The waves on the shore reflect a bright moon and the twinkling light of the nearby tourist hotspots. Villas speckle the mountainsides between windy roads surrounded by vineyards, and an ocean breeze wraps around Corsica like a comfortable blanket. And unbeknownst to many on this island, vampires wake from their day sleep. Now let's start with one of these vampires for tonight, and that will be Octavia Perez. So first thing you have to do, Octavia, is we need to get 3 hunger checks from you to see where in this story you start. Are you very hungry or perhaps just only a little bit?
I'm so scared.
Perfect.
JD.
Well, that's
Okay.
not good.
All right, let's see. Let's see how we do.
Oh
Got
no, that's 1. Oh, that's 2. Oh no. Surely the last one can't be. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Whew.
2 out of 5 hunger isn't so bad. You're a little peckish this evening.
Yes.
Which is odd for somebody in such a fine stature as Octavia Perez. She's a rich person in this world, has lots of resources about them to make most things happen. But how is their haven? I heard it's nice, but I hear there's a catch.
My haven is haunted. I have a very lovely, well appointed haven, but there's something peculiar about it.
Do you have
Very,
anything in mind that might be peculiar, or is that something you haven't really fleshed out yet?
I haven't yet. I was hoping it would come along. But yeah, being awake all night, she hears quite a few bumps in the night that aren't her.
Maybe the occasional floating chair or thing falling
Yes.
off of a shelf. Okay.
Things flying across the room.
Hot.
And I don't believe it's a Nosferatu, an unseen. It's something else. It's something other.
Unsolved mystery of this. So is this like a would you say this haven? So you have a nice one. Is this sort of like a nice apartment in the middle of the metropolis, or is this one of those things where you're out in the country?
It's a nice villa up on a hill, maybe near a vineyard or something.
Scenic.
I think in her short term, she wants to own a wine company. Wants to have her own vineyard.
There you go.
To increase on her wealth.
Is this yeah? So it sounds like this would be a business venture / retirement situation then.
Yes.
Okay. What does the normal night to night look like for Octavia once she wakes up, and especially if she's a little bit peckish?
I think tonight she's going to venture out and to the local village and see if she can find somebody who's maybe out a little late or, you know, maybe coming home from a long day of work and see if she can have a snack.
Okay. So it sounds like Octavia is going to do a little bit of hunting.
Yes.
And what is her preferred method of procuring blood?
She's a sandman, so she needs to drink from someone who's asleep.
Right.
And
Okay.
preferably someone with clean blood who hasn't neither drank or had any type of drugs.
So you're probably not chancing it with the random passed out individual in the street or something of that sort.
No, someone who's exhausted from the day's work.
Okay. Okay. So you got a couple of options here to procure such blood. One of them could be just simple stealthing around, maybe a hint of larceny to break into somebody's home and get a bite to eat that way. There's also other avenues where you could maybe strike up a conversation with somebody and maybe go back to their place and see about having them fall asleep through some means, and then you can procure blood that way. And there's a third option that I don't even know of. Perhaps you're thinking of right now. What would be her style, you think?
I think she would try and sneak into a small village type home, maybe another villa that's smaller, and try and sneak in. Uh, maybe I have a route of places that I go to, and this is one I haven't visited in a while.
Sure. Uh, I like the idea of the route and perhaps familiarity here. So you tell me, this little, you go into the village, you're going into other houses, or you know these houses at this point. Would you say the place you're stopping by tonight, who lives there? Is it a family? Is it one person? Are they young? Are they old?
I want to say it's a young family. Maybe they have a child, but she's not interested in a child. She's probably the mother or father. You know, they're young and healthy, um, farmer types. She's gonna dine on.
Okay, okay. So you are mostly looking for the parents of this younger family, it sounds like, and you've been around this place before to grab a snack. Would you say that they typically keep their windows and doors locked at night? Or do you feel that in this area, people are more comfortable leaving those things unattended?
Oh, I'm sure it's lovely weather. There's an open window or something I can easily sneak into.
I mean, there is a warm breeze. Who doesn't want
Right.
that? Okay. So I think instead of any sort of larceny here, it just sounds like you might have to make a simple stealth check to see how well you climb into this open window. Um, it would be a little hilarious if you fell down onto a bookshelf and made a bunch of racket and then you were discovered, but we'll find out here shortly. So if you could, go ahead and give me starting with the skill stealth, if you could add your dexterity to that. And I see you have a specialty in break-in. I think this counts. So if you want to add that extra die, that's fine. And also, I'll just say on the table, surging is a thing. If you want to surge beforehand, you definitely could do that, where you tempt the beast to try, or you will gain 2 extra dice.
I don't think I'll do that right now.
Okay. Don't want to start it off by getting hungry. Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
Is there a difficulty?
It'll be difficulty 2. You've done this before.
Okay.
It's just a matter of perhaps they move stuff in the night on you.
Okay.
Ho,
It was two.
exactly
I
2.
succeeded.
Perfect. Okay, so you, this house is just a 1-story to the ground house, kind of ranch style little place here, and you find yourself crawling through the window. Lovely breeze kind of covers a bit of the otherwise noiseless night in this at this time of night, and you walk in to see 2 parents in the dark, fully asleep from what you can tell. They seem to one of them is definitely sawing logs to a point where it's a little loud, but apparently it's a good sign that they're both still steadily asleep. So there are 2 potential victims here for you to feed upon. Do you want to try to feed from both or just one?
Um, I'm going to take a little from both.
Okay. I think you can take a little bit from both, and that will probably bring you down to, so you have 2 hunger. Now you can't get rid of all of your hunger unless you kill somebody. So the best you can do is take off that 1 hunger. But it's nice. You find that this was an easy task for you this evening. You've made these routes before. You've been here for a number of years, and perhaps you've even seen this young couple kind of blossom into their own. Maybe a touch of humanity there for you to be like, oh well, glad that they're here and making it easy for you to get a snack.
Yes. Maybe they'll just feel like they've caught the flu or something together the next morning.
Yeah, I might need a little extra orange juice in the system to get going. Okay. Now, to sort of close up the normal night-to-night operation for Octavia, does she have a phone, or does she? How does she usually get messages from people?
She would most definitely would have a phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's thematically appropriate to have your phone do like the light buzzing that a silenced phone would do in your pocket as you're just kind of like, dab your mouth from the little bit of blood that you've taken from these 2 adults. And you do realize that you have gotten some sort of a text message on your phone.
I will quickly exit the window, maybe hop up to the roof and check my phone.
Okay, you quickly get out. Now, I would love to get a description of what Octavia Perez is looking like tonight. Because the idea of somebody climbing up on top of a house with heels on or something is always entertaining with me. So, by all means, can you describe your character a little bit for us, how she physically looks this evening?
She's probably in a dark gray, very neat uh, tracksuit. She's very comfortable. So if she's like out and about, maybe people think she's just going for a stroll or a jog in the countryside.
Okay, a little bit of a night sort of casual fitness vibe going on.
Yes, little parkour.
Little parkour. And you do your tiny little smidge of parkour on top of this roof, and you check your phone. Now, it's 2017, so you can have everything from a smartphone to a dumb phone to a pager. I mean, all sorts of tech is out there for you. What do you think she has?
She's got a smartphone, and maybe she's up on the roof, leaning against the chimney, kind of blending into the shadow and checking her phone.
Sure. Um, so there is a debatable rule when it comes to smartphones, when it comes to vampires. Some people believe that their hands are too devoid of heat and stuff like that to open them and whatnot. But I think your sort of colder than normal hands in this case, we won't operate in that sense that we're going to make you do the blush of life. You can open your phone and you can check your messages. And you notice this message is from none other than the eldest vampire known on this island of Corsica. And it's from Phil, or Philip, however you want to address him. And it's clearly written by his ghoul named Carlos, as it's very dry and devoid of any sort of personality. Unlike Phil is this sort of imagine a tech bro who retired in his late 20s and also somehow simultaneously has retired dad vibes. Phil is very much so he's enjoying this sort of retired moment in his own life, and he's been the sort of unofficial guardian of this island, making sure things run smoothly, or is usually at the pinnacle of the news that's coming in. And this dry text that is apparently from Carlos, his ghoul, just says, we need to meet tonight. There is something happening on the island that requires your attention. And then it just says after that, come to Phil's house, which is not too far from where you're at. Phil lives also kind of in a village type area, like very suburb. He also has a little villa that he rents half of it out to like apartments, and then he has this whole other side of it that's just his own little play place. And typically, if you find Phil on any given night, he's probably watching reality TV or some sort of media of that sort. He's very enamored with humanity and human media like that. So you could probably get there on foot within probably 30 minutes. He's not too far away from you. Otherwise, you could feel free to go back to your place and grab a vehicle. Up to you.
I'll just reply with an emoji of someone walking and a thumbs up.
Okay. Hopefully Carlos understands that. I assume he does, because he doesn't text you back.
Okay.
And I think this is a good place to segue into our next vampire's nightly routine. And that'll be Han. What does Han's normal night to night look like once they wake up? And before we flesh that out, let's roll those 3 hunger checks to see how this night particularly will go.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh,
One failure. Another failure. Dang, we're just 2 for 2 for getting 2 hunger.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Han is a Asian woman who looks like she's in her mid to late 30s. She spends her days at her, you could call it her home. It's kind of like Octavia. It's a small villa in a somewhat remote area, but it's still pretty close to like a metropolitan area. And she wakes up and she is in a room that has no windows. There is one door that is barred on the inside, so only she can kind of get herself out. There is a little trap door very close to her. And in this room are dozens of filing cabinets that are all locked up with like ridiculous number of locks on all of them. And this is where she keeps all the contracts that she has made with people for business.
Is this mostly human business stuff, or do you also keep little notes
Yes.
about, okay.
Yes,
other stuff?
Han almost exclusively deals with humans. She does not care very much for other vampires. She believes that, well, humans are food, and you need to have a good relationship with your livestock.
Lovely. Definitely not terrifying for humans at all. Cool. So I guess when Han does have the moment where she's hungry, what does she do normally to sate her appetite?
She is the alley cat predator type. Her preferred method of hunting is stalking people and jumping them, but she has a lot of people who work for her, and a lot of people who owe her things. So if she doesn't have if she feels she doesn't have the time to indulge herself, she just pulls up a contract of someone who needs to shave off a little debt and has them come and pay it off by feeding her. So it depends. Storyteller, does Han feel that she has time to indulge today?
Well, at this moment, I would say this is around 10 p.m., just a hair beforehand when you do wake up finally from your undead slumber. You don't see any like incoming text or anything like that, so you don't have really anything immediate to deal with. So this very well is sort of like a very free sort of moment for Han, and she can at this moment really do anything she wants to try to establish feeding.
Great. I think she is going to go out and she will go to find a nearby. I think she knows where all the vacation, like Airbnbs and villas and things are. She's going to go to one of those and find some like partying, like college students and stuff, and just wait for someone to leave the herd.
I love that. And I think that will require just a little bit of an investigation of the immediate area. Now you are in, that sweet spot where you're not quite having to deal with all of the big city stuff. You're just on the outskirts of it. So I would say with a difficulty of 2, if you could do an investigation and either wits or intelligence to try to discern which of these houses might have a party or might be more readily available for you as a rando to kind of intrude.
Okay. One success.
Now that is not a complete failure. I would say, given the scenario, it takes you a bit longer than you wanted to. It hits about 11 o'clock as you're walking up and down the various streets nearby your little suburban villa area. But you end up passing by one of the last Airbnbs, and there seems to be a pool party happening. Not to the excess of like 100 people, but you could probably garner from just furtive views from the outside on the street that there are probably about 20 people mingling both in the backyard, within the house, and there's like an open garage where some people are playing what it seems to be some sort of drinking game with a ping pong ball. You could possibly scout this out further if you want to.
I think she's just gonna stay where she is and just watch and wait for someone to get separated just for 5 minutes. That's all she really needs.
Okay. You do wait for about 5 minutes. You wait about 10 minutes. And you can tell that they're definitely mostly inebriated over there. And your patience is starting to wear a little thin as you're kind of waiting for someone to kind of maybe decide to use the nearby hedges that separate the 2 yards as a makeshift urinal. But no one has made their way yet. And as you're kind of waiting, I would like to ask, does Han carry any sort of communication device on her?
She has 2 phones. She has one analog that is her main phone, and then she has one smartphone that has very little information on it because she's a criminal. She doesn't want people tracking her, but she does have it because they find desperate people online, and that's how they communicate with. That's how they get a lot of people to sign contracts with them.
Desperate people online. I've never heard of that before. Which one of these 2 would be the one that, if you had to give your information to Phil or Philip, which one of these phone numbers would
Analog.
you give? Analog? Okay. You do end up getting a text very similar to the one that was sent to Octavia, and just simply states that we need to meet tonight at Phil's. There is an issue arising on the island. Your presence is requested, and you will be compensated for the meeting.
but there's no time on it.
Just says tonight.
Great. She will continue watching and waiting. And if it takes too long, she'll just go because Phil is an authority figure. She's not going to leave him waiting too long. But if she'll wait like another hour.
Luckily, about 30 minutes after looking at this text, you eventually see finally one guy. He comes kind of stumbling out of the garage, and he says something very loudly to somebody who he was chatting to near the gaming area of this garage. And he's like, "I'll be right back, bro. Just gotta go." And he starts walking on the grass towards the hedge that divides between the two houses, the 2 yards. And luckily, this is very much so in the dark. There's not a lot of light from the streets or from the house illuminating this area, as he thinks this is a great place to alleviate himself.
Han will take her shoes off so as not to make noise and just casually walk over, feeling good. She doesn't do this a lot.
Would this be a stealth situation that you're trying to kind of hunt your prey, or are you going to try to approach as a sort of friendly figure?
She is not good at stealth. She doesn't want to make a lot of noise, but she's not really bothering to hide too much since people aren't going to be looking here. She will approach, but it will not be friendly.
Okay, so this is just you're going to blatantly approach, but you're going to not exactly be in his viewpoint while you're doing so. So this is sort of a non-stealth approach, but still from an angle where it's not going to catch his view right away. So I wouldn't say this requires a stealth roll. However, I think if you could just roll me an awareness plus wits, just to make one last little look around to make sure that your target is definitely not being viewed by anyone else and you feel safe in attacking this person.
Okay. Wow. That's bad. I am going to willpower that because that is ridiculous.
Okay. First willpower roll for the night.
Wow. It's still bad. Roll 20 hates me. For anyone who's watching this, total failures on both rolls.
That is...
Life is cruel.
Wow. Okay. But at this moment, Han feels very locked on her target. She does not seem to really look at anything else outside of that, feeling very safe about this approach. And I think this is where I'd like to ask, when you do approach him, what do you want to do? As right now, he doesn't seem to notice you, as he's doing the thing where he's kind of like, he's swaying as he's trying to like unzip his pants so he can alleviate himself.
I purposely step on a branch for him to hear.
Oh, the snap of a twig right behind him, and he's like, still not very much so about himself.
When he looks over, I'm going to use mesmerize and tell him stay still.
Okay, mesmerism. Now, is that a rouse check to initiate?
Yes, that is a rouse check. I'm hungry.
A hunger.
I'm failing everything today.
Oh,
You know,
no.
Hey, but the only way
okay.
up from
I'll just
here
leave.
is up, right? Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But you do want to. So you snap the branch. He looks over. He's like, "What?" And before he's really able to understand what is happening at all, you catch his gaze and you tell him exactly what again?
Stay still.
And he just goes in like petrified mode. He's like
I
the
go-
one eye that caught you just is still staring back at you.
Yeah, I go and I feed. I'm going to take off 2 hunger. And I'm trying to do this quickly because I want to wipe his memory. And there's a time limit on that.
Okay. Well, luckily, no one seems to have noticed quite yet that there's something going on over here. So you can sate 2 hunger if you'd like.
I will indeed. And then I will look in his eyes and say, forget.
And then as soon as you say forget, he falls forward into the bush a little bit. He kind of like the lack of blood in his system plus the amount of alcohol he's had is a natural stumble on his behalf. And he kind of just goes like, oh, and he falls into the bush, leaving him to try to scramble to get out. And also he's got a whole bunch of things going on. He was trying to unzip his pants and his hands were down and he just falls forward like straight on his face without even trying to like stop it at all. So he's wrestling himself out of a bush. At this moment, you feel like you could probably walk away without anyone noticing. And you don't feel like you're being watched. And you walk away?
I walk away, I collect my shoes, and I head over to Phillips.
Got the shoes in hand and over the shoulder, ready to go. Now, you probably live a little bit further than Octavia does. So this is probably more of like a 30-minute to 40-minute walk for you on foot.
Yeah, I will have my right-hand man, Leo, drive me.
Driver, please. Okay, yeah. And if you want to, let me know what kind of car this is. Otherwise, we can hand wave and just say car.
Yeah, in real life, I don't know cars at all, but it's not like super expensive, but it's a nice car.
It's got 4 wheels.
Yeah, 4 whole wheels.
All right. And you are well on your way.
It's big enough for bodies.
Oh, so we're talking like
A sedan.
Yeah, sedan, maybe even an SUV or a crossover scenario. Gotcha.
Yeah, maybe. Bulletproof is helpful, or like better for bullets. I have enemies.
Yeah, I mean, bullets don't hurt you as bad as a vampire, but they're wildly inconvenient.
They hurt my boys, and I need my boys for my business.
Yes. Leo would not like being shot. Preferably. And so far, no one's shooting any bullets at you this evening as you make your way in the crossover sedan and or SUV towards Phil's house. Now, let's talk about our last vampire tonight and how they typically do their nightly deeds. Let's start first by having Landon make 3 consecutive hunger checks or rouse rolls to see where they're at. Ooh, fail, and a pass. Everyone has done the same thing.
Nobody is cursed.
I'm beginning to think there's something happening. There's something afoot here. The technocracy. Okay, so that means you are at 2 hunger. Now, I love the hunger mechanic because it's so relative to just normal everyday abilities of us humans able to comprehend. At 2, it's like, around lunchtime, you could eat, you're not starving, but the little tiny pings of, hey, you might be hungry, start to jolt in your mind. But where does Landon Thatcher wake up is the question, because over the last couple of weeks, Landon does have an apartment. He has a haven. However, Landon got into a bit of a internet scuffle with someone who was none too happy with how Landon was talking online. They felt that Landon might have been skirting the masquerade in ways that they didn't like themselves. Perhaps just joking about vampires or whatever it might be. But it was enough to get one commenter's attention, and they started going into your DMs, and you furiously were going back and forth about something until eventually it was, I got your IP, Landon.
I got doxxed.
Yeah, you got doxxed, and they said you better watch your back. And since then, it's been a little iffy going back home.
Yeah, so I'm out and kind of worried about going back home. I don't want anything bad to happen to me, but I'm also just really want to chill. So I love the idea of a party. I can imagine that somebody might invite me to a party. I don't really want to go, but I guess I will. The same party that that Han was at.
Oh, Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So, cool thing about Landon, very personable with humans still as well. And you have friends on this island, friends that even let you crash on their couch. And in this instance, the they rented an Airbnb for a pool party, and they said, "Yeah, bro, you can stay in the basement if you want, like during the day. It's cool." And you had a little nip nap during the day, and they are none the wiser that you are a vampire. But when the party started, after the sun went down, of course, Landon is now awake. And upstairs, you hear, the thumping of a bass coming from some source, perhaps some sort of pool party in the backyard. But it definitely sounds like upstairs, from this dark basement, you are hearing this thumping, continuous beat that can only be consistent with some sort of a music track. And you're alone right now in the basement, and you wake on this couch, feeling a little peckish.
Well, I don't really want to get up. I don't really care about what's going on upstairs. But something that does is my pet squirrel, my pet vampire squirrel.
Do they usually stay with you when you go to bed for the day?
They just kind of hang out with me all the time, and just my buddy, and just like any animal that hears a lot of rustling going on, you might have a dog that might bark, or a cat might be interested in peeking in what's going on. Well, so does my squirrel. And
does your squirrel have a name?
He does, and actually it slips my mind at the moment.
Placeholder squirrel name. That's okay. This is your famulus, right? This is your vampire famulus, which is a creature you feed your blood to. Oh, it's Freddy.
Yeah. Oh, it's named after my dog. Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Of course. So Freddy just gets really antsy, wants to see what's going on, wakes me up, and I'm like, all right, let's go check it out. So I'm hungry anyways.
You could eat.
Yeah. So we go upstairs, and we're basically just hanging around. There's no urgency in eating right away. We're just kind of like hanging out, looking around, chilling on the couch, just partaking in whatever's happening up there, just very much blending in.
When you go up the stairs and emerge from the sort of dim lit basement, immediately the bass went from like club next door or outside to like just thump, 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 thump. And there's some EDM blaring in the backyard from what you can tell. Now, these villas...
Freddy immediately regrets this, but we're going.
Okay. So. And it's like, is Freddy like a hidden figure on you, or is he out and about and like on your shoulder or something like that?
He's hanging out on my shoulder. He just kind of hangs out wherever he wants on me.
Okay. Makes his way into pockets or sometimes on the shoulder, depending. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, at this moment, the second the loud noise becomes more apparent as you open the door from the basement, Freddy is swirling down your arm and ends up in like an interior pocket of, or some sort of pocket on yourself. Now, I think this is a good opportunity to describe what does Landon Thatcher look like, dress like, just a basic idea of who this person would look like across the room in a party.
Landon dresses like a bum, but not because he's a bum, but because that's what he feels like doing. It's comfortable, big soft t-shirt, maybe a hat sometimes, some fluffy, some very comfortable shoes, and some sweats.
Just imagining like Crocs, unfortunately, or something like that.
Yeah, some Crocs or some slippers or something like that Freddy has chewed on a little bit every once in a while, and that's what he looks like. He's kind of tall, like kind of medium tall, and pretty handsome, but looks tired.
All the time.
Yeah. All the time.
Okay. From that description, it sounds like Freddy is going to, as he was perched on your shoulder, quickly scurries down and into a pocket within the pants or shorts that you're wearing at the moment. and it just kind of sticking out with his two little paws out of the pocket with his little head as he's looking around and just kind of having sensory overload as there's music. People are talking loudly within the house. There seems to be echoing from the pool as the back door is open as you glance over to the kitchen area. And you
in the pool. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say there's just about 20 people in this house. That's all you can tell for now. But I will say you are almost immediately approached by Simon.
Yes. Simon is one of my best friends, and they're already at the party. They're already hanging out, wondering if I was going to come.
Awesome. And do you have an idea how they look, Simon?
Yeah, Simon is he's a little tall too. Just very plain looking, also very chill, but kind of has a very dumb look on his face.
Would you say he's like early 20s, late 20s, or like 30s?
No, he's definitely like mid 30s.
Mid 30s. Okay,
he looks mid 30s. Yeah,
he looks mid 30s.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
there's no telling.
He's in that like nondescript age where you could both play in like a Hollywood high schooler situation or also like a regular guy kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. And
in the pool, can I set this up right here?
Yeah, if you want to give me a little bit of a description here, by all means.
We have another friend too, and he's just in a pool in a tube floating.
Is that Gregory?
That's Gregory.
Okay.
And he's over off in the corner. Nobody's around him, and he's literally just like floating. And then there's Doritos, cheese on his chest and stuff.
And perhaps in this flotation device, as he's sitting back and he's just mowing down on a snackage, there is also another. There's a little like pill looking like device which seems to be floating on some sort of other flotation device near him that seems to be exuding this thumping bass off of the pool and into the house. He seems to be streaming some sort of Bluetooth music. But he doesn't notice you anyway. He's to blame, yes. Gregory is to blame.
All right.
But Simon does approach you, and now, just to be clear, have you revealed your vampiric nature to your friends, your best friends at all? Or is this still kind of, I just like sleeping during the day?
They know everything.
They know everything.
They know everything, yeah.
Okay.
These are very close buds.
Okay. Buds that stuck with you, would you say before you turned into a vampire? Or I guess, no, you've been a vampire for a while, so you must have met them recently.
Yeah, so they don't care. Yeah, like basically like basically it just came up and they're like, "Oh, cool, you're a vampire. That's neat." That's pretty much it. And that like they're like, "Oh, cool, yeah, all right, awesome." They don't care.
One party?
Maybe they maybe partially don't believe it, but they know, but they don't believe it.
There's like a moment where you're like seriously just like, I've been meaning to tell you guys this, but I'm a vampire. And they're like, okay, bro, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, man. Sure. All right, cool.
There you are.
Yeah.
Right. Hardy har. Okay. So maybe there is a sense of disbelief, but acknowledgement that that's how you identify to them as I'm a vampire, guys.
Exactly.
Okay. They don't know if it's a vibe or if it's a literal thing, but
yeah,
they seem to just vibe with it themselves, regardless.
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to them. They just we're all just buds.
Sure. Okay. Well, as buds, Simon does approach you, and Simon is, well, let me just roll a D10. The higher the number, the more inebriated your friend is. Let's see here.
Okay,
I rolled a 3, so he's fine. Yeah. He seems to be, definitely a little bit more jovial than usual, but Simon approaches you, and he has like seemingly like 4 different unopened beers in his hand. He's like, "Oh, hey, Landon, what's up? Glad to see you awake. The party has started, bro."
Really, I'm just like, yeah, what's going on? How did this even start?
Well, I mean, we originally were just going to have a couple of people, but then we met people out when we were out in the city, and then it kind of just snowballed into, let's all have an after party over at our place. So we rented it out. um, you know, things happen. Someone dropped a keg though in the backyard. It's getting pretty wild back there.
I just kind of like to see what's going on. I don't drink Landon doesn't really drink himself, but he just kind of likes to see what's happening and stuff, and kind of keeping an eye out for maybe somebody that he can just chat up and end up feeding off of.
Speaking of, so what is Landon's feeding type? Predator type?
He doesn't care. He just whatever.
He doesn't care. Whatever. Okay. So
whatever's easiest is basically what he likes.
Okay. Well, Simon and your other friend Gregory, I believe, they do not. They're not alone in this. There are some other people here that you've in your friend's circle that are technically part of your herd that are at this party. Now, there's quite a few unknown randoms here, but you have been known to feed off these people in these friends that you have in your herd, and they seem to be a reliable source to being say, hey, you want to come over here for a second, and you end up giving them a bite, and they don't seem to mind about it too much.
Definitely, and there's maybe a girl or two that try to talk to me all the time, but I'm too lazy to text back most of the time, but they still kind of come hang.
Love it. Maybe that's what you wake up to is so it sounds like you do have a phone. What kind of phone do you have?
I definitely have a smartphone. Got to argue with people on the internet with it, so
perhaps a source of contradiction. But for now, you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, and you first thing you see is a text from a girl named Natalie who's been bugging you for the last couple of months, and you have hardly been able to give her the time of day, literally. So she just you just get a simple WYD question mark. What are you doing?
She's in my phone as Natty.
Natty.
I like, yeah. And and I say, chillin'.
She's like, where at? Question mark. Right away too. Like there was not much time between when you texted her back and when she replied.
I just tell her I'm at a party, and I purposely don't tell her where, because that's really frustrating for people when you don't elaborate. Love
that. So you go on to get more text messages of like where, and then question mark, and then question mark, and then emoji sad face, double emoji sad face, and then you get another message after that that just says, come on, tell me. I just want to come see you and hang out.
Okay, and then I ended up giving in, and I tell her where I am.
Okay. And she just sends you back a quick message of be right there. And so you have this Natty on the way over to the party. Now, as far as feeding is concerned, do you want to feed tonight? I mean, you are a little peckish, but you don't absolutely have to do it. At 2 hunger, you've been able to sustain that for sometimes days at a time.
Since I don't try very hard, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I have to try too hard. So if there's an opportunity, I take it.
Okay, so low-hanging fruit are your priority.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to roll a die, just a chance die, to see if there's anybody that is lingering in a opportune position for you before she arrives. And if there's not, then we'll just play on to when she arrives. Oh my goodness. Okay. There is somebody now. Ethically, let's talk ethics here, because this is a party. People get drunk. People sometimes pass out on couches. Sometimes people are, you can tell, way over the limit kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You find somebody who is in now. A lot of the party has spilled up mostly into the garage area and like the kitchen, and the kitchen is connected to an exterior door that is open that goes up to the pool. Most of the party is over there. Now, where you're at in the house is sort of this longer hallway that leads into the bedrooms and into the basement. Much darker, much less active at this moment. There is a bathroom on the way to this way, though. And you you hear somebody, they open the bathroom door like just right behind you. And it's a young man, and he looks really plastered, like really, really plastered. And he's using the like frame of the door to kind of lean up against it as he opens it, and his eyes are like struggling to open. And you've never seen this guy before. He looks like a random that they must have picked up, like a tourist they saw at the bar and said, "Hey, yeah, come over." And he doesn't recognize you, and he's like, "Oh, hey, man, what's up?"
I don't think I'm gonna feed on him because I'd have to get up.
Sure. And he just kind of does this like ping ponging between the hallway walls until eventually he stumbles into the kitchen, and he immediately kind of just starts talking extremely loud the second he gets into the kitchen. And I think that's around the time when you hear a knock at the door, and you hear your phone go off again, and it's from Natty, and she says, "I'm here," with an exclamation on it.
I send doors open.
Okay, creaks open, and you're on the couch in the living room. It sounded like.
Yeah, well, like in that, near that hallway. Yeah, like
near the
you were
hallway.
saying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she stumbles in. Do you have a vision for Natty, or would you like me to paint a picture for you?
Vision. Natty's very cute. She could definitely do better than Landon. But it's just, there's just like a disconnect there from Landon, and it's his own fault. It's his own fault for ruining it or whatever, or not taking a good opportunity there.
Okay, and so she walks in, and she looks like she's done. Like she must have gotten ready very quickly, but she looks good. She's definitely got more of a party/club attire on, and it's a warm night too, so it's like a shorts and short, shirt kind of thing going on. And
Landon notices this. Landon, he at least like is like surprised, like he's lazy, but he's not stupid, so he knows that, like, wow, she's great.
Neuron activity.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I think at that point too, like you were just maybe like you found like some like nearby snacks that was acceptable for your little squirrel friend Freddie to feed upon, and she
he loves Doritos. Yeah,
he loves Doritos. Yeah. He's a big Cool Ranch kind of guy.
Yeah.
So he's going through a bowl of Doritos and just and then looks up and then like notices when the door opens and Natty walks in, and he goes back to eating some more, and she comes up and she's like, "Oh my God, Freddie's so cute," and she's like crouching over onto the over the coffee table, and she looks over to you. She's like, "Can I pet him?"
He's excited to see her.
Okay, he's all like looking at her and like doing like squirrels sometimes do the reachy thing with their hands, reaching upwards, and she's just asking if she can pet him. She doesn't want to assume that she can pet your potential feral animal.
I say whatever.
And she's like puts her little finger out, and he bites the tip of her finger, and a little bead of blood comes out, and then he still looks like innocent about it though. He's all like, I can still get pets, right? And she kind of like pets him, and she's like, "Ow, he doesn't have rabies or anything, does he?"
Is he my vampire wingman, like drawing blood to give me a hint that I should feed on her?
Well, so the thing is that this creature is not quite a vampire, but it does feed on your vampiric blood, which gives it, a thirst for vampire blood, maybe blood in general, but B, it also Freddy gets some extra powers from your blood. Your blood, when imbibed by a mortal, gives them sometimes extra strength or more fortitude to themselves. But perhaps, he might be signaling blood is on the menu outside of Doritos.
All right.
But does he have rabies is really the question here that Natty is stating for.
No, he's a good boy.
Oh, okay. Can I sit here next to you, or do you want to go outside or something?
Yeah, here's fine. That's cool.
And she sits down and takes off her purse and kind of gets comfortable and sweeps away the crumbs from whoever else was eating Doritos here. And you're in this zone where you're in the living room and there's not a lot of action, but you are surrounded by sound from the nearby party and also the bass from the EDM rocking away in the pool area. And she seems to be kind of nervous, but also she's doing the thing where she's trying to sit close to you, but also not trying to invade your privacy bubble.
I end up finding the strength to just put my arm up, not like around her, but like on the couch, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. And
it's like, hey, what's up?
It's like, this is a cool party. Is this your house, your roommate's house, or something, or what's going on here?
And I just say, I don't know. It's, I don't know. I hang here.
All right. Your phone does buzz. Or do you have it on like volume? Do you like to hear your ringtone or something like that?
It gets really loud, and it's you can hear it like kind of drowned out by the music, and it's just a really obnoxious ringtone.
So very much so dad approach, where this thing is on 11. You can hear the notification from across half the continent. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And do you look at it right away, or are you still going to stay in conversation with Natalie?
I don't look at it right away, because then I'd have to reach in my pocket.
Okay.
No.
So it buzzes, and I'd say you're having a conversation with Natty for a little bit, and about like 10 minutes later it buzzes again. And at this frequency it's buzzing. I'd say it's around like 11:30 now at night, and it's buzzing in succession, as if, or sorry, not buzzing. It's a loud notification, but this is your ringtone. Someone is calling you at this moment.
All right. So then I'm like, okay, I should probably check my phone. So I don't answer it, but I check it, and I need to make the phone call. So I was like, hey, I gotta make a phone call. So I go into the bedroom.
As you pull out your phone and you go to check, like, the notification says 1 missed call, Phil. And it has a text from Phil, who, Phil is basically the unofficial guardian of all vampires on Corsica, the island that you're on. And as you're looking at the notifications, she doesn't quite crane her neck, but she's also kind of like, who is it? What's up?
Yeah. So what does the text say?
So the text says, need you to come over to Phil's tonight. Official business. You will be compensated for the meeting.
I text, do I have to? Can't you tell me about it over text?
And you get the 3 triple dots of like someone typing for a little bit, and then it erases, and then it comes back up again, and it just says, yes, unfortunately, we need you to come over tonight, and we can't discuss this over text.
Maybe Natty feels threatened by that and wants to make out or something. She just kind of pushes it.
So you're texting, and she is maybe trying to get your attention. And now, as far as like Landon's understanding of Phil almost rarely ever reaches out. This guy, the only time he's ever reached out is usually when something is happening or is about to happen that is going to affect you negatively. Whether that's someone is moved in that we need to take care of, or we need to have a meeting about somebody accidentally murdered somebody, and we all have to figure out a way to clean it up so we all don't get discovered as vampires. So really, the only time you really ever get a text from Phil is when it's like tornado warning style or Amber Alert style for vampires on the island. And especially given the nature of wanting to see you immediately for tonight and not wanting to do it over a phone, would probably indicate, at least to Landon, that unfortunately this might be a buzzkill that you have to attend. Now, you said tonight, though.
Can I ask Natty for a ride?
Yes, you can.
Okay. She needs to give me a lift.
Oh, this is great. Okay.
She's excited because maybe she thinks we're going somewhere cool, like together. But then like she's out there waiting, and I bring Simon and Gregory and, my squirrel and Freddie, and we're all there. And
you're
she's
bringing
like,
Simon and Gregory and Freddie.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't know everybody was coming. Like, I gotta come with my entourage.
Absolutely. She thought you were just going to go for like a ride somewhere, and then suddenly it turns into you're bringing your entourage, squirrel included. And I would love you to make an insight and wits roll if you could. So
Okay.
if you click on the dice by insight, that'll initiate the roll. And then for
All
your
right.
attribute, you can add wits.
All right.
And there'll be no additional dice, but the difficulty will be 2. You
All
got
right.
3, which passes the difficulty. To notice, as you're driving towards Phil's house, Natty, or Natalie, however you want to foresee her as, she doesn't look too pleased about the situation of having everyone pile into her sort of. She has like a hatchback, so it's already kind of squished in the back. And, she doesn't look like she's having a great time with this scenario. Perhaps disappointment is apparent on her face. But
Gregory spills some like peanuts or something in the back seats.
And clearly Freddie sees it as a notion to immediately start scurrying around the car and grabbing those fallen peanuts. Wow. Okay. So we technically have 3 vampires on the way over to Phil's house, the exile that is sort of in charge of protecting everyone given his age, but also seems kind of about his own lackadaisical lifestyle. So before we get to the scene where we all arrive at the house, I think we'll go ahead and take a quick break. And then we will come back and we will see where this goes, as we have the entourage of Landon plus Natty and Octavia showing up with Leo in the body transportating car. And then I believe, Octavia, you were walking your way over to Phil's house. During the break, we will have some messages about No Kid Hungry. The reason we're playing this game is to raise money for No Kid Hungry, and really any donation helps. $1 provides 10 meals to kids that are food insecure in the United States. So just $1 will, feed a kid during the work week. Outside of that, if you can't donate, we appreciate you watching, and we hope to have you keep tuning in for the rest of the show. We'll be back momentarily. And we're back. All right. So we have all of our vampires converging on the humble abode of Phil, the lead exile for the island of Corsica. Nice little island embedded in between Italy and France in the Mediterranean. Right now, we have a various amount of traveling companions with each of these vampires, starting with Landon. You were traveling with Natty, who was driving you, this woman who was interested in your character. She had a surprise sprung on her as you asked her to go for a ride, and suddenly there was your entourage of 2 good friends and your faithful squirrel.
Yes.
During that drive, you did notice, I recall, that you caught a bit of a look on her face, maybe a scowl, maybe a look of displeasure for this scenario. I think that she's going along with it for now.
Yeah.
The ride isn't too far away from you. It's like a 20-minute ride. But it's 11:30 at night. You're on your way over there. Is there anything you'd want to do as far as inside the car via the drive, like talk to Natty or talk to Simon or Gregory?
We're in full goof off mode, annoying her. So we're literally just whatever, yelling, telling jokes, maybe a little tearing things up, just a full blown goof off mode.
Okay, and she still consistently has that look of not loving this scenario, but she isn't also actively being aggressive towards you or anyone else in the car. She's just kind of being the silent chauffeur at this moment. maybe
Yeah.
occasionally butting in with something.
This is not her. This is not how she planned this night to go.
No, not really. You'd called her over to a party with the intentions of hanging out with you, and that did happen for a little bit until the entourage joined you in this, what was maybe to be some sort of romantic ride into a Uber scenario.
Yeah, she thought we were going to make out point or something, and really we just needed a ride.
All right. Well, we'll let that continue happening. Let's look at the body car, the car in which that could hold several bodies as passengers. Not quite sure, but Han, our Zemitzi friend, is traveling with their companion Leo. Which what is Leo's relationship to Han?
Leo is Han's ghoul. He has been her ghoul for maybe 40 years or so.
Oh wow, okay. Are they like a local or were they a tag along situation?
He is he's European. He's not necessarily from here. He's from like the mainland.
Oh, okay. Do you have like an idea of a physical description for Leo?
He is in his 30s. He's Caucasian. He's like decently good looking. And he definitely looks like that bodyguard type in movies. There's always like one slightly more handsome bodyguard who's like the second in command, who, the hero has to fight before they get to the bad guy. He has that kind of vibe.
Okay. He's got chiseled European bodyguard vibes. I dig it. And Leo's the driver too in this scenario, in this body car. Okay. Relationship wise as well, I would just love to know, is this strictly business? Is this like steamy hot bodyguard scenario? What's going on here with these two?
I think Han does not have enough humanity in her to be interested in that kind of thing. It's up on the table what he thinks, but he is I don't think she's capable of having true affection for anything, but like her feelings toward him is probably the closest that can come. Like, this is a pet she greatly values and would do terrible things to someone who harmed it.
So almost you view Leo as a very prominent asset in your day to day or night to night. Sorry. But I guess perhaps their day to day. All right.
Yes. Yeah, he is her like number one man, and he is also, they've been working together for a while. So.
Okay, so the strong, silent, dependable type that has been very faithful in their duty. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And has hidden probably enough bodies
oh yeah.
in their day. Okay. Hence the body car. Okay. Is there any sort of interactions you want to do with Leo, or any sort of things you want to do while you're in the car? Because you're hands free. You're not driving. If I recall correctly, you did have a smartphone, which seems to operate all right with your undead ligaments.
She probably uses those gloves that have the little thing on it for like winter time. She just always uses those.
There you go.
Yeah, I think there is very little conversation, but the few that there is, it's pretty much all business. Like, oh, is this person, have they caught up on their payments? Should we pay this person a visit? This person's contract is about to expire. Things like that.
Okay, just proper shakedown talk. Crime, business crime, interchangeable. All right. And lastly here, we have Octavia. You were not quite skipping down the road, but you were walking your way to a nearby suburb that is right adjacent to your area in which you do a lot of your night to night hunting if you need to. So you decided to go on foot. What is I think we discussed what Octavia was dressed like, but if you could paint a picture again of what she'd look like as she's just walking underneath the occasional street lamp.
She's probably, in like a tracksuit, looking like maybe she's going for an evening jog or stroll, hair pulled back in a ponytail and just making her way over there.
Okay. Now you do have time to kill on the way over there. Is there any sort of messages you want to put out into the world, or anything you want to do with your phone or phone calls to anyone that you might know?
No, she's pretty solitary. She's just gonna head over there. She doesn't have an entourage or anyone. She's quite content to just manage on her own.
Okay. Without the Tinder Uber of Natty, you make your way on foot. And I think it's safe to say that eventually you all take your time to get there. And it's about, I would say, closer to like midnight at this point, between the hunting and the actual travel to get there. But you arrive in staggered motion. Each of you arrive a little bit before another. And I think the first one to arrive, and it only makes sense that because they were very close, is Octavia. So there's two kinds of streets on Corsica. There's long and skinny, or there's windy and skinnier streets. And the windy, skinnier streets definitely remind you of, or as a person, could remind you of Hollywood, like Beverly Hills style. Like it could get very windy, very tricky. If you're coming around a corner too quickly, you're going to bash into somebody maybe. And this street where Phil lives is no different. A lot of the houses around here are old. A lot of the painting on the sides of the house is like tans, and like you'll even see like the classic, like almost like Spanish tile on the top of the houses. Everything here is very much so villa vibes, and that is included in Phil's house, which is not per se a house, but it's like an apartment complex, but not quite like clean apartment complex style. This is very much so they took like two larger homes and they put them together, and one side was for like the landlord and one side was for like 6 or 7 tenants. But this is a gated little apartment complex, and you've come up here before, and there's a dumb little intercom that you have to go to, and typically Carlos is on the other end of that, the ghoul, the faithful ghoul of Phil, who I think, as we said before the break, he doesn't have much of a personality. He's very much so an Alfred type character. He's prim and proper, and usually reminds people to mind their manners. But you arrive, the few street lamps above you cast this large shadow as you walk by. And I think one of the few shadows kind of says something to you as you walk closer to the last stop before you turn the corner and you're at the gate, and you hear like whispers kind of start to build with every footstep you have, like on the pavement. And you hear that familiar shadow whisper in your voice that just says, Vitae, when will you have Vitae? It kind of whispers just a hint of a desire for blood that isn't from a mortal. And it keeps it's been a problem. It keeps trying to push you into wanting to feed off of other vampires. And you've been ignoring it for quite a while, but every night this thing keeps whispering at you. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's through a shadow that you see that grows as you walk through a street like this. Sometimes it's in a mirror where you look at your distorted, fuzzy image that can't quite capture your reflection. And sometimes even on your phone and other reflective surfaces, when you like try to use them, like they might bug out for a second and glitch out, and just only to you hear these whispers of just Vitae, desire vitae. Promising power, promising endless possibilities to you. It's very taunting and tempting, and at times annoying. How do you normally deal? How does Octavia normally deal with that? Does she just always ignore the voices, or is there ever like been a dialogue between the two?
I think she ignores it. I think she thinks it's probably part of who she is or who she's becoming. But it's just like an annoyance, and she'll sort of wave it away, not really understanding it quite yet, if it's just a whisper.
I think it's one of those situations where the more attention you give it, the more power you might give it. So like you kind of do this motion like as if batting away a fly, and like maybe like when you weren't looking there was like a smoky shadowy figure rising up to talk into your ear, and you just and it kind of just plumes away into the darkness like cigarette smoke or something. And that's about the time where you arrive to the tall green gate that outlines this connected villa housing and apartment complex where Phil lives. And you walk up to the intercom.
I'll hit the buzzer and wait for a crackle of static and a voice on the other end.
A very prompt reply from the initial beep. You hear a familiar, gravelly voice from an older gentleman, but still has a prim and proper poshness about them. You just hear Carlos's voice say, "Hello, who's this?"
Octavia.
"We've been expecting you. Please come in." And then you just hear the loud "bang" as the gate slides open slowly.
And she'll walk in as though she owns the place.
And you notice the atmosphere. It's this warm summer night with that cool ocean breeze. You hear the lively activity of people talking, chattering, perhaps partying. You can't quite tell within the apartment complex side of the building. There is a young man who just comes out of one of the doors that heads into that building, and he lights up a cigarette almost immediately, just enough time to have his eyes dart up and look up at you. And then he just kind of does like a little bit of a wave and goes back to going on his phone and smoking a cigarette. But
Do I know?
You don't know this person. No.
And he waved at me. I ignore it and keep on walking.
Okay. And decidedly there is that other building that's conjoined with this apartment building where that young man came out of. And that door is what leads into the main abode of Phil.
That's where I'll head.
Okay. Door is locked at first as you give it a jiggle, and it creaks open with the short Italian man with crisp white gray hair, slicked back, clean shaven. He's only maybe starting to show a little bit of his age, as there is a bit of some wrinkles on his face, but nothing too drastic. He's probably, if you had to guess, in his like mid 60s, something like that. He's got like this olive skin, and he's dressed very prim and proper, but not quite tuxedo style. It's like a white button up with suspenders, and he's got black slacks that seem to be pressed, and he seems to take care of himself, but he's not overdressing at all. And he welcomes you in and with a dead eye stare at you, just kind of like, "Hello. Yes, Octavia, we've been waiting for you. Please come in," as he steps aside and kind of leads the way into the complex.
I think she acknowledges him. I think she respects his tradition and his no nonsense ways. So she'll nod to him and greet Carlos and enter.
And he's a gentleman. He does like a slight bow as you like come in, and closes the door. And he has like this big bar that comes over the door and locks it in place. And then there's like two other locks that he has like on either side of the door. It's a very well constructed steel door, seems on purpose for security purposes. And he just says, "Follow me. Phil has some guests over, so they don't mind what you look like. Just don't be obvious in what you are. They are humans."
I think I'm gonna activate Blush of Life.
Okay. First roll after the break here. Let's go ahead and get a rouse check to see if you get hungrier.
I do not.
Cool beans. So for free, without any penalty to you, you're able to start blinking normally, put on the act of blinking. Blood rushes to your skin, making it seem alive and have a pigment to it other than deathly pale. Your lips get color. Even you start to pretend to draw breath. And as you are doing all of these things physically, you're walking in stride, following, and eventually you emerge into a very minimalist, very white, very I would say from the outside it looks like a villa, right? Like an old school Italian type villa. When you enter inside, it is very new age, very very minimalist. It's been renovated to be basically the newest and greatest. It has, you can tell, a lot of good interior design here if you're into minimalism. But you do hear immediately voices from several people as you enter the room, and it's all marble on the ground, marble tile, and so every footstep you make just echoes. But the echoes start to battle the voices, growing as you get closer to this sort of it's like an open concept living room / dining room area that's next to a kitchen that's also kind of open. So the concept is you could be in the kitchen, and then there's like a set of there's like an island where people could sit, and then beyond that there's like a dining area, and then it opens up even further into like this area where there's like a living room and a television and several windows that kind of give you a good view of the night sky. And kind of congregated in the dining room / living room area is a group of people. They're kind of scattered about. They seem younger. Very Instagram model vibes going on here. Like everyone looks like a little too hot, a little too young for this scenario. And one sore thumb sticks out, and that is Phil, who is not standing and mingling with people and talking. He's actually, there is a reality television show on the big screen in the living room, and he's got his feet up on an ottoman, and he's kind of parked back like this with a laptop on it on his belly, and he's got this sort of camo like bowl cap on. And he's got like, he doesn't need glasses. You know that he's a vampire, but he's got glasses on just like this. And he's like, he's like checking emails, and he's like kind of like watching over the brim of his glasses, this television going on in front of him, which seems to be like some sort of reality TV show about wives that might be desperate. We don't want to get sued. And you can tell instantly, Carlos makes his way over. He kind of chauffeurs you over to Phil, and as he like is midway there, he stops and he's like, "They've made a mess again." And he starts heading over to the dining room table and starts to pick up bottles, which seems to have been from beer or some sort of inebriated substance. And he starts to clean them up, and he's like, "Phil is over there in the living area. You can make your way to him, and incognito if you could."
Incognito. I'll nod to him and head towards Phil, and offer my hand to shake his hand. Hello, greet him.
He takes his hand, he's about to shake it, and he's like, oh, and he wipes off some of like whatever spilled onto him when he was trying to pick up the bottles. And he firmly grasps your hand, still very dead in the eyes, but there is some level of appreciation happening here. And he's like, thank you for being so kind in your candor. We appreciate it much around here, especially with the current crowd, as he looks over at some of like younger people doing like chugging contests in the kitchen. He's like, oh, I hate this. And he goes back to cleaning.
I'll say yes, and then just head on over.
Okay. I think as you're heading on over, let's go check on someone else that's on the way over here. Someone who was also, or sorry, who wasn't on foot, but who was also in a car, the body car, Han. You had no nonsense. You got your blood for the evening and went straight out after giving a call to Leo to pick you up. You arrived second at this familiar place, and pulling up, there's enough space within the gates to park. So there's like parking spots within this little complex. And as you pull up, Leo just hits the intercom, and Carlos comes to the intercom and asks, who is this? And Leo just replies, it's Leo and Han. Good. We've been expecting you. Please park within the gates. There's plenty of room. Gate slides open, and you see a young man, a lone figure, smoking a cigarette outside the apartment door. It seems to go into the complex part of the building that's adjoined with the house that is Phil's. And the car turns off, and Leo kind of just looks over to you, and he's like, should I keep an eye on this kid over here, or what? Where do you want me to go?
Does this person see me?
They notice the car. You have tinted windows, so they don't seem to notice you while you're in the vehicle right now. They're just kind of seemingly staring at the vehicle and looking down at their phone and taking long drags on their cigarette.
I am going to leave the car and kind of slam the door, like not like slamming it, but a little too hard to try to jolt them so they will look up. And I would like to try to clock their reaction because I have the flaw obvious predator. I have a predatory demeanor that frightens and unsettles humans. So I would like to see when he sees me, if his reaction is, this is probably a human or not.
Okay. That's great. And you definitely do catch his attention with this subtly, not slam, but loud thud of the car door as you close it. And they look up quickly, as most people do when they hear something that is kind of jump scary. And if you could go ahead and roll I'll let you choose between wits or intelligence, but I think insight makes sense here. You're trying to gauge what this person is thinking, or perhaps an emotion that's immediately available on their face.
Okay. Sorry, my cat, if you can hear her, is
I don't, but I wish we did.
That is 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. That's pretty good. And the lighting here isn't amazing, but there is a lamp directly above the exit door for this apartment complex. And so you get sort of a good idea of their facial features and their reaction to you. And this young man with tight, close, dark curls, he looks a bit stunned at the moment, like, you caught him off guard with the door slam. And then you notice his expression change as he was initially kind of startled. He looks at you and he's just kind of like, he has a look of utter puzzlement about him. He's looking at you like, what's going on with this lady? She looks kind of perhaps out of sorts, but you are luckily kind of in low light, in sort of shadow. If you came closer, who knows what he might think, but with a 3, you could tell that he seems to be puzzled by you and also a little startled by you just kind of being there. I think your presence kind of unsettles him from what you can tell.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll look at Leo and say, I don't anticipate a problem, but if you need to, and she'll tap her mind because since he is my ghoul, he has the ability cloud memory from me.
Okay. He stays in the car and he just kind of keeps the car on and is just kind of checking his phone and keeping it, like, trying to be low profile as you are walking towards or I guess if you want to walk towards the door that is Phil's house. Up to you if you want to continue walking up to this young gentleman.
I don't anticipate any problems with him at the moment, and I think since he appears to be human, Leo can handle him perfectly fine. So I will go straight to Phil's because that's what I'm here to do.
Okay. You leave the apparent human alone and head to the door that would go into Phil's, and it's, of course, not budging at all. You go to twist the doorknob and it doesn't move at all. But quickly enough, you do hear some footsteps approach it, and you hear an amount of locks and other heavy things being moved away from the door. And about 20 seconds later, it creaks open with like a familiar face of Carlos, the old man, old little Italian man that works for Phil. And he greets you with a head bow and just says, Han, we're pleased to have you here. Please, this way, if you could, as he opens the door fully and points towards the hallway that leads into the stairway.
Yeah, she'll go in, and she does not know there are humans there, so she's not gonna.
As the door closes and you're walking ahead of Carlos, he's like, just a moment, Han. Would like to warn you that there are guests over, and they're not of your kind. They're not aware of who or what we do. So if you could be incognito about your nature, that would be much appreciated.
They do not generally. Humans tend to be frightened of me. Are you sure you want me in this room?
Well, I could have you escorted into a room not with the humans, and we could arrange for Phil and the others to gather in there with you.
It is up to you. You are the host. I am merely a guest.
Well, if you feel that your presence is going to off-put our other guest, I'd rather not do any cleanup later, so if you would follow me, I'll lead you into the office where you can wait for Phil and the other guests to be escorted in there.
Very good. And I think Han is secretly happy about this. She would much rather be in an office than in Phil's living room.
And you do have to witness this sort of open living room, dining, and kitchen layout as you have to walk down this hallway into the office. It's kind of like an offshoot, the opposite side of this hallway that leads to these main areas. And as you notice, you've probably seen Octavia before. You probably maybe even talked with them a couple of times, but most of the vampires on this island typically keep to themselves. And there's not many. There's a handful of you. So it's very much so small community. Everyone knows everyone. But you see the silhouette of her with her back towards you, and she seems to be making her way over to a plopped down on the couch, melted into it almost, Phil, who is brandishing a laptop and is surrounded by a lot of young, beautiful people, looking like they just had a day at the beach, and they're having sort of a low-key party and commiserating. But you're led
Hors
into.
d'oeuvres. That's kind of him.
Okay. And you take a quick right into this door as Carlos tries to make sure that your presence is not seen by these people. You're just another person that's flowing through the building at the moment. He just opens the door and he opens it for you. And he's like, please, if you could, into this room.
Yeah, she'll go in and she will pick, she's not going to sit in Phil's seat because that is disrespectful, but she will definitely, I think naturally gravitates towards whichever chair is, the most center, the most, well-positioned.
And this office is very much so, it has study vibes. It's a bit bigger. It's not like a one desk type office. Ha! It's Macy. It does have some shelving for books. It's got enough room for not only a desk with a lavish chair, but also a sort of sitting area that's like an L-shaped couch. Very nice white couch. And it's all white marble in here, white and black, minimalist everything, the lights even. And this room is no different than that. And he basically deposits you in this room, trying to keep your nature away from these mortals.
Yeah. Just sits down, waits comfortably.
Okay. Any snooping you want to do while you're in here by yourself?
Are there any filing cabinets?
Oh yeah, in the desk there's what you can tell there would be if you open the drawer. If you could open the drawer, there would be perhaps files in there.
I think Phil is kind of the authority figure, so she's not going to disrespect him by going through his things, but she's definitely eyeing them and thinking they should be locked up better because for her, that's one of her most prized possessions, her contracts. So she's just kind of judging all of his choices in this office. That should have more locks on it.
Probably a pattern that seems to have emerged, judging Phil's choices because he tries to live enveloped by these humans. He seems to care, maybe in Han's mind, a little too much about them and their culture and all the comings and goings of the media and film and stuff.
I think because Han ultimately she cares more about what humans are doing than other vampires. So she respects his interest in humans, but she does not respect that he is emotional about those interests. They're cattle, they're pets at best. You should not get so involved.
I think you might have had a conversation or two with some folks that might have had similar ideas too of this relationship he has with humans, but neither here nor there at this point. You're waiting nicely and not snooping. However, there is a manila folder that is very unprotected, just sitting on his desk, and
if there's anything that's open, she'll definitely look at that. But anything she has to actually go through, to her, that's the next step, and she's not going to do that.
I think it makes total sense. Now, it's just a cracked folder, so you could take a finger if you wanted to and just kindly flip it over to see what the contents are.
I will.
Okay.
If you don't secure that, that's on you.
There was a label outside of it, and let me just double check the label here. It was it was labeled Closer Nightclub or / Club Calvi. And as you open it, this seems to be recent documents. Someone has purchased one of the bigger clubs on the island. And highlighted is the name of the new purchaser. And then there seems to be behind that a couple of documents I think I want to make this roll because I've never made this roll in a game ever. Can we do a finance and intelligence roll?
Oh, interesting. So I have a specialty in finance black markets. Does this club have any connections to my business?
I'm going to say that you've heard that this club was used to do some underground dealings before. And I think with the nature of these documents, I'll give you your specialty for this.
Okay, great. So I'm sorry, finance and what?
Intelligence.
Okay. Two successes.
2 successes. Okay. That is enough for you to have a basic understanding of what you're reading here. Now, there seems to be copies of who the new owner is, and then following documents are trying to paper trail this ownership because it's not to a person, it's to a company. And this company seems to have ties with Pentex, basically at the end of the thread. And Pentex, as you know, is a Camarilla corporation operation that's used to basically make big moves in the night legally for the most part. And it seems that this building was recently acquired by this Camarilla affiliated corporation.
And this building has even loosely some ties to the business I am in.
Yes, there have been below. So this building is like 5 stories tall. It's an old building, but it's been renovated and it's worth a lot. It sold for to the rhyme of about $12 million. So this place is it's a perfect establishment to use as storage, to use as meeting spots, to use as a place to traffic things. It's very perfect for being able to do business that is related to black market related things. And in the past, you've known that blood has been something that has been moved to this place before.
Okay. Yeah, this is not a good thing. All right. I'm going to just slide the paper back and start making a list in my mind of people who would be very happy to pay off their debt by perhaps destroying a building.
Okay. There is one thing too I want to mention. This building used to be owned by another one of your independent vampires on this island. This was part of a man named Geo. He owned this building and a couple of other places near it. It looks like Geo willingly sold it to these Camarilla folks, or eventually to Camarilla. It was all kind of put it behind red tape.
Does Geo seem like someone who would be financially responsible and like check who is actually behind the transaction, or is he just like a rich dude?
Column A and column B. He is a rich dude. He isn't the brightest bulb, but you do know when it comes to finance, he does know what he's talking about, and he is a mover and a shaker. And he's also the newest member on the island, which is about 15 years ago. He came here, purchased the club, made his rounds to Phil and the people that lived here, and just, announced himself, said he would follow the rules, basically announced what his plans were to run this sort of operation here. If any of you want to do business, here's my card, kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what Phil has to say before I make any moves.
Okay. And last but surely not least, in a small little hatchback car, Natty is driving an entourage of goofballs, plus a nutty squirrel. You eventually, the car putters up to a gate, and she looks up at it, this like apartment complex / house that's kind of conjoined together. And she's like, is this the place? Can't quite tell. I can't see the address.
She also asks if she can have a couple bucks for gas, and we pretend not to hear.
Okay. I love that. That is a good little detail. And she seems to get no response. And at this point, she's just like rolling down her window, and she's like, should I hit this intercom button? I don't know. Is this the place, Landon?
I think so.
Okay, I guess I'll hit the button. And you just hear and then a couple of moments later, static comes through the intercom, and a voice following behind it is one of Carlos. Now, I don't know how often you visit Phil or Carlos or this place, but you have been here at least a couple of times before over the handful of years you've been here. And Carlos hasn't changed a bit. That man has not evolved in the slightest. But you definitely can tell who he is right away by his voice. And he chimes in with the, "Hello, who is this?
It's me. I'm here.
Who's me?
You know, me.
Landon?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Well, there's room to park. I'll open the gate for you and come up right away if you could." And the gate starts to open by itself. And the car, as she accelerates, kind of like it's a stick shift. So it does a little bit of the back thing before it goes forward and then kind of putters its way up this little hill and into the parking space next to what seems to be a nice body car. All blacked out, tinted black windows. Seems like I think what did we settle on, Michelle? Like a sedan or something? Sedan. We'll say a black sedan with the 4 doors. Someone is, the car is on. You park next to it, and someone is looking at their phone. You can tell they look back and notice you as you come in. And then there's a young man. He's nervously dragging on a cigarette, and he's like getting ready to head inside as you park your car, and he just notices your car as it moves in. And Natty stops the car and puts it in park, and she's like, "What is this place?
Just a friend's house.
Is this another party?"
Yeah, he kind of. I think I'm not really sure. He just called me, and we're gonna see what he wants.
Okay. Are we all invited, or was this just a drop-off scenario?
I ignore her, and I see Han's car, and I'm like, "Who invited the bigwig?"
And unblinking and just staring at you like a death glare through glass, barely through the tint, you can see Leo looking at you as if he heard you from inside that car say that.
I say, "Take a picture; it'll last longer."
And his phone creeps up the window and just hits his thumb on it and puts it back down.
And he finds out that it won't last longer because I'm La Sombra.
Okay, so in that case, if he looks at his phone, he might have a distorted, blurry version of Landon on the phone. Gotcha. Okay, and I think that's when, is it Simon?
Simon, yeah.
Simon and Gregory, they start to exit the vehicle. They assume they're along for the whole trip, and they get out. And as they get out, they wave to the young man who is just about to put out his cigarette and walk inside. And they're like, "Oh, hey, man, how's it going?" And he looks like kind of nervously around. He's like, "There's a lot of people here right now. You guys having a party or what?" And they kind of look at each other and shrug, and they look over at you, Landon. Gregory's like, is this a party? I know Natty asked, but like, I have no idea what we're doing, man.
I said, "Me neither," and we just keep walking.
Okay, and then this kid is just left hanging, and he goes inside into his apartment complex as you, Simon, Gregory, your squirrel, was it Frederick?
Freddie, yeah.
Freddie. And Natty, as you're getting to the door that goes into the abode of Phil, Natty decides to, I guess, join, and she gets out. And she's like kind of awkwardly, like doesn't know whether she was invited or not, and she kind of just comes along and catches up just as the doors open by Carlos, and he's like, he looks over your shoulder, Landon, and he's like, "I did not know you were bringing company."
And then I said, "Relax." I say, "Relax. They're with me." No.
Do they know?
Do they know who?
Got you. Well, just be discreet when you get inside. There are other guests here that are not in the know.
Yeah. Where's Phil?
This way. And he opens the door reluctantly, and a gaggle of people walk in with Natty following last. And she kind of just says like, "Oh, hi, I'm Natty. You own this place?" to Carlos, and she puts out her hand, and he shakes her hand, and he's like, "No, I'm part owner. I used to own this building, but I have relinquished it to my dear friend."
And I said, for free?
It is a business situation. Landon, do not worry about it. Let's go meet Phil so we can have a discussion about business. As he closes the door and starts trying to usher the group forward, and just says, "Phil is in the living room. Let's keep going up the stairs. Yes, through the hallway. Keep going." As he's like the caboose of this train.
And I say, always so serious.
Well, someone has to be. And I think that's about the time where you arrive into the white marble hallway that leads into this open concept kitchen, dining room, living room area where there seems to be a very low-key party happening here with some model-esque young people. Everyone seems to be probably too good-looking. Like, he must have just went about town and just was like, you, and you. We're going to cherry pick the hottest people on the island. I don't know if he's just trying to surround himself with younger people or whatever, but Phil can be seen not sharing the same vibe as everyone else that's kind of having this low-key party. And he's sort of melted into this couch scenario with his feet propped up on an ottoman, and he seems to be furiously typing away at a keyboard. However, you do spot a familiar person as well. It is the silhouette of Octavia from behind. She seems to have made her way to Phil and is having a conversation with him. And I think
do I say hi to Octavia?
Before you do, let's go see what happened with Octavia as she did approach Phil earlier.
Okay.
So you do come up to Phil, and these are pristine white leather couches that he's sitting on. He yells at some guy like, hey, get a coaster for that. Get a coaster. They're over there. It's not hard, bud. Come on. And he puts the glasses up, and he's like, takes them off. He's like, "Oh, Octavia. It's been a while. I see you've got my message. How's it been?"
Yes, Phil, it has been a while. It's been quite a while since we were summoned. What's the festivities? Is this a surprise party?
They have a history?
Perhaps. I'll say like you will approach in a little bit here. But for right now, Octavia, he looks over at the partygoers and he just says, "Their cover. I'm just trying to make sure that I look like I am and acting like I am perceived. This face, these people, it seems to be what all the other folks are doing these days. So just trying to fit in, and they don't seem to mind using the place except for the coasters," as he like yells at that guy one final time. And he says, we should actually probably talk about this whole summoning thing officially over in my office.
I agree. As much as I detest playing the part, I understand how important it is to keep up appearances. Yes, where's your office?
It's just this way. And he there's like 6 remotes seemingly summoned by like the side of him, and he finds the one that pauses whatever thing he was watching. And he closes the laptop and puts it down, and he's like, "Follow me, I'll show you right where it's at." And that's when he gets up, and you both, as you turn around and face towards the other side of the room with your backs towards the television now, you do notice this entourage of people around Landon. And Landon, you kind of, this is like that moment where like you like see each other across the room, and Phil just like kind of waves like, Landon. This is, he's like about 15 feet away from you. He's like, oh, glad you came. I'm glad you brought friends. The more the merrier. And he approaches with I would assume Octavia in tow.
Yes, she's looking very befuddled, but maybe she thinks Landon is in on the charade of, keeping appearances of a social gathering.
Very well.
I just simply say, hey, Octavia.
Landon.
Who are your friends, Landon? I don't think I've met any of these fine folks.
This is Gregory, and this is Simon, and this is Freddie.
Reaches out, shakes all their hands, and then and he's like, who's she? Who are you? And she's like,
oh, that's Natty.
Yeah, I'm Natty. Really nice place you have here. What's your name? He's like, oh, I'm Phil. This is my house. We're just having a little gathering here. You know how it is. Friday night, I guess. Feel free to help yourself to any libations. We have a full fridge stocked over there. Use a coaster if you're going to do anything, okay? They're all over the place. It's not hard.
Before he even finishes that sentence, Freddie's on his way to go check it out.
Nice. The squirrel is on his way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just sniffing around.
So the squirrel... Now, would you say when you walked in this building, was there a squirrel like mounted on your arm, or were they like tucked in like a pocket or something?
Yeah, he's like on my shoulder.
Okay. And so he skitters down your arm, and I think to the surprise of some of the people at the party, when they see a squirrel jump up onto the island in the kitchen, and there is an arrangement of almonds that he starts to help himself to.
Yeah, they look grossed out.
I think even some of the people there are like, oh my God, he's very cute, but looks like he hasn't eaten in days, and he's just like ravenously stuffing his mouth with almonds. And that's when Phil looks over, and he's like, right. So yeah, if you other three want to just hang out, I have a business thing to discuss with Landon here. And and this is Octavia. Octavia, these are Landon's friends. George? Is George right? I want to say George. And he's like, no, my name is Gregory, bro. Like, it's fine. Just met. Yeah, Gregory and Simon. He's just butchering their names, and they exchange. They go to exchange pleasantries with you, Octavia.
I love the idea of nobody ever getting their name right ever.
Simulation is complete.
Octavia will shake their hand.
Okay.
Very properly.
They don't reciprocate in a super proper handshake. It's very loose, and like I think one of them even tries to go in for a dab, and there's a miscommunication between what was about to happen here, and it's like that weird dab handshake.
She's very awkward.
Fair enough. Yeah. Thanks. Here, thanks. Yeah. After you exchange names, Phil is trying to lead you to his office at this point, and he's like, I think we should probably go because the night is not going to be around forever. Summer, right? Nights are short. Let's go. And he starts to kind of part the crowd of people that were your entourage and just kind of like, okay, get out of the way. And it's like, follow me to my office, and opens the door to the office to reveal a figure standing in there, which is none other than Han, which you all have met at least once before. Oh, Han, I didn't notice you were already in here, says Phil.
I didn't want to frighten your pets.
Well, when you use the word pets, that definitely doesn't help. Everyone, please, if you could get into my office quickly before we frighten the pets, as he like kind of looks at the guy who is not putting the drink on the coaster, and you can see just visibly Phil is a little mad.
Aren't you the one that yelled at me at the grocery store that one time?
Is this to Han?
Yeah. Maybe got annoyed with me.
I don't go to stores.
Oh, must have been somebody else.
And she's just looking at you like so dead in the eyes.
Just
And the one little detail is, as you're trying to be ushered into this room, is I think you see a young woman awkwardly standing, and she looks like she's maybe trying to like find somewhere to sit, and she walks up to Yulain and Natty does, and she's like, so you want me to just stay out here, or should I come with you? I don't really know where I fit in.
don't worry about it. You're with me.
Okay, I'll come with you.
I will stop this from happening. I'm gonna use mesmerize on her.
She looks at you over the shoulder of Phil, and Phil notices your locked eye onto this woman, and he steps to the side and he's like, oh, okay. So this is a mortal that is not ready for mesmerism. So you will have to roll a rouse check for this ability, but
I succeeded.
you are good
Finally.
once again.
Yes, and I'm just gonna tell her, go enjoy yourself with them, indicating the other humans.
She turns around and she robotically walks into the group of people to go enjoy herself, grabbing the nearest drink that someone else was maybe drinking out of, and just starts melding into the party.
Yeah, and she'll just look at Landon, like judgment free. Just this is a conversation that we must keep to ourselves.
I don't listen to any of that, and I just watch Natty go in the other room and do all that, and I just shrug.
All right. And that's when Phil's like, well, this is already a shit show. Anyway, yeah, get in here, everybody. Yeah, let's talk about business. Business is fun. As he like closes the door after everyone enters, and finally it's just you four in this room, in this nice little study, little office, mirroring the white and black decor of the rest of the abode. And I think that's when he goes to sit down at his office chair, and he just kind of motions. If you want to sit, you can sit on the couch. Otherwise, feel free to stand. This shouldn't take too long. Anyone need blood? And he goes to there's like a little mini fridge near his desk, and he's like, I have bags if you need them.
I'll take some.
All right. You want a straw? Yeah, you want a straw. Sure. I think you do. And he,
I take the bag of blood and I plop down on the couch so nobody else can sit on the couch. Freddie burrows in the top and like curls up to go to sleep.
Okay. Yeah. Freddie had just like squeaked in the door as he was closing it, mouth full of almonds. And you were handed a bag of blood. Do you have any hunger on your hunger tracker?
I do. I have, yes.
You have 2, it looks like?
I have 2, yes.
So if you drink 2 of those bags of blood, you could get one of those pips off of your little meter here by just clicking, I think, the pip that is the dark maroon one, and then you should go down to 1 hunger.
There we go.
So you imbibed in some, not the best blood you've ever had. In fact, bad blood is kind of like, you'll take what you can, but it's like eating hardtack. It'll sustain you. No one likes the flavor. It's not satisfying.
It's like drinking Pepsi instead of Dr. Pepper. Got it.
It's like drinking a Pepsi. Quote that.
Does he shotgun it by poking a hole in the bottom and...
I love it.
Maybe Freddy is trying to like whatever dribbles that come down, tries to grab him.
He's a scavenger. He licks my shirt.
but he helps keep you clean and presentable-ish.
Yeah, that's his whole MO.
But it gets to a more serious tone when Phil takes off the bucket hat and plops it down onto the desk, and he's like, "Okay, well, I don't usually try to pull the summon everybody on the island card, but this is kind of important. I think we all have a bit of a problem, not with any of us, as long as your friends use coasters, Landon, but there's a larger problem at hand that Carlos and I have discovered. You all know Gio, right? The guy who owns the club, the Calibri Club.
Used to, it looks like.
Oh, so have you also? Sorry, it's Calvi Club. My bad. But I assume you heard of the sale that happened recently.
Yes.
The who?
Well, I will inform you all then, since it looks like Han already knows. Geo used to be one of us. Recently moved off the island, and they sold their nightclub, the Calvi nightclub, the Closer nightclub, that big building that's downtown. It's a big deal. Essentially, what we found here, and he flips open this manila folder, the one in which Han had appeared at earlier by herself, and just turns it into face all of you on his desk, and he kind of stands up and he starts spreading out the papers. He's like, picks up one and right here, this paper is the deed for the new ownership, which is this company. Seems to be a shell company. He hands that over to pass around the room. He hands it to you, Han, as if this is new information. And then he hands over another series of paper that's and this is where the shell company is from, this Pentex Corporation. And he hands that, kind of pass around. It's very teacher style, take one, pass it down. And then lastly, he has another document that's and this Pentex Corporation is linked to the Camarilla at large. So what does that mean, class? Essentially, that means the Cam have officially moved in on us. They have bought a piece of land on our soil that was never supposed to have either Cam or Anarch set foot on it. And we kind of have an issue. I don't know exactly who owns the place or who is presiding over it, but it's not good news if these guys own it. And this affects all of us, as he puts the paper down on his desk.
Do you think Gio was a plant, or he just is selfish? Is he someone we should go after?
Well, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Gio was always kind of a slime ball, but he also was a businessman, or is, I guess. We're talking like he's dead.
He's gone, right? He moved away, right?
Yeah, he did move away. It sounds like he went back to France. Don't know where he went, though.
We can find him.
We'll probably be all right.
We'll probably be all right. Landon, this for 400 years, there's been no Camarilla, no Anarchs on this island. And suddenly they're trying to sneak in on us. For now, tonight we'll be all right, apparently, but I think this is an encroachment that's just starting.
Octavia's furious. She knows what this could lead to, and she's not going to stand for it. When was this transaction, and where are we now? Where are they moving in? What's going on with this building?
That is the thing. I only just learned about this. Carlos found this out. There was an article in the paper, and he flips open one of the papers, like it's a newspaper. Some of you haven't seen any of these in years. but there's a little article that talks about major sale happening downtown, moving of hands of this well-established nightclub. Name staying the name stays the same, and it's trying to assure the locals of like it's going to be bigger and better than ever, and we'll keep everything the same. The classic, trying to appease the locals. And he looks at the deed and he's like, and then we just recently found out about this yesterday, but it looks like this deal was in motion for maybe months, from what I can tell. I haven't had a good opportunity to dig into it, but from what Carlos and I have been able to dig up, it's been in motion with Geo for a while, and he couldn't have done it without his blessing. Or sorry, they couldn't have made this sale without Geo's blessing. So I assume he's been talking to them, but I don't know, no one could actually know if he knew about them being Camarilla or just he was trying to make a business deal.
And Geo made this business deal without your blessing? She's curious, like, how dare he go behind all of our backs? This is our safe place. Once the Camarilla moves in, it's over. Our peaceful little life is over.
Well, what do you want us to do about it?
Well,
yes, what do you want us to do?
He gets up and he looks like there's like a set of blinds that was behind his chair, and he looks up kind of out the window, and he's like, and he turns around. I'm going to be honest, and he has like this sort of like very shady, not shady vibe, but he seems a little bit off at this moment. He's like, I'm going to be straight with you. If the Camarilla is moving in on us, it's likely that these individuals might know who I am, who I was before this island. I haven't told anybody before, but I used to be a sheriff in Marseille about 500 years ago. And I got exiled because I wouldn't kill somebody. And I just found the way they did stuff, it was so feudal, so draconic. It was just, I wanted to find a place where I could restart and live peacefully. And so I moved here and changed my name to Phil, and you've all known me as Phil, but they sent me a letter, and he pulls out a letter out of his jacket pocket, and it's like a typed letter, and it simply says it's an invitation to someone addressed to the name of Conrad, and says, we need to make well on payments due. And he it basically says, meet tomorrow night at that club that was just bought, the Calvi Club. And basically says to the tune of it's like a layered threat. Best way I could put it. From what you can tell, there's some sort of extortion of either information on Conrad or somebody that this Conrad person knows in this letter. And he just says, so they found me, and I know if I go there for this meeting, if they put me in torpor, or if they kill me, or whatever it is, there's really no one besides you three to protect the island.
How did they even find you?
I don't know. And that's where I kind of am wondering if Geo might have been a rat this whole time. Because not many people know about stuff that happened 500 years ago. And still keep that grudge. The reason I brought you here.
Tomorrow?
Continue.
This is tomorrow? The meetings?
So tomorrow would be the meeting, and he's like, I brought you here to ask you all a favor. And it would be paid, in full by me. You know I'm good for it. I was just wondering if you three could surrogate this meeting for me. I don't really ask for favors a lot, and you know I'm good for any sort of major boon or any boon for that matter. And if you want money, I can give you that too. But frankly, I know that if I disappear after this meeting, they would just tear you all apart. I'm like the last stand before they take this island. And if you three could do a surrogacy for me and just stand in and let them know it's not just me protecting this island. There's a community here. I think they might respect what sort of power we have. Because let's not lie, you three have been around for a long time. You're relatively skilled in your own individual gifts. Each of you. Now, I'm not saying this is I'm not sending you there to fight people for me. I'm saying we, one way or another, need to get them either off this island or partitioned in a certain space. We need to open up diplomatic channels now before it goes into full takeover. And I think the Camarilla could respect that, but I don't want to give them the only thing they want. They want me. They want me for what I did before. They want me for what I know about the inner workings of Marseille. And I think if I give myself up, we don't have any bargaining chips to stave them off.
Couldn't you just kill him?
Couldn't I just kill him? I mean, yeah, we could go there guns blazing. We could try to kill him, but it's the Camarilla. They're going to keep coming back.
I didn't say us. I said you.
Okay, say I kill them. They're going to come back here with 10 times more people that are strong or as strong as us, if not stronger, and they can kill us all however they feel.
And do you really entrust this task to us? And by us, she means Landon, because he is not taking this seriously, and she understands like this will destroy our livelihoods if it goes badly.
I mean, would it be that bad if they showed up here? We would just have like a bunch of new friends and stuff.
How do you live right now?
How do I live right now?
Yes.
Just do whatever.
You can't do whatever if they are here. You will be a slave to them. We all will. That's how they operate.
Being a slave means that I have to work.
Yes.
You ever hear of a blood tax?
They tell you, and if you do not, they will shred the skin off of you, and as it heals, they will still send you to do things.
Man, all right. What do you want us to do?
I just simply want you to represent me in this meeting. I don't know. So clearly this is a veiled threat, which is typical, Camarilla type networking. However, I want to see just exactly who they have here. Do they seem like they're open to a dialogue? Or is this going to have to turn into a moment where we're going to have to either pack up and get out or fight for what we own right now? I just need you all to weigh the situation for me. Nothing more than that.
And where are you going to be while we're there?
I have a place near here that is not known to many people that I can kind of hide out because I assume they know where I live since this was sent to my house.
I feel like you're throwing us under the bus.
Well, I won't lie to you. If they have very ill intentions and don't want to have any sort of dialogue with us, this very well could turn violent really quickly. However, this is downtown. This is like in the middle of like some of the busiest tourist areas, and I highly doubt they're going to start a vampire war in the middle of a nightclub, in the middle of a rave. I mean, sure, people have done that, but the Camarilla, their whole shtick is they got to keep the masquerade up. No one can know there's vampires, blah, blah, blah. So I think you should be safe by their own set of rules. I wouldn't send you there to get slaughtered.
You're concerned about your life.
Yes, in a way, yeah.
So this will be a life debt you owe us.
You're not wrong. And
Very well, I accept.
that's one.
Just like that?
A life debt is a rare thing.
Means I owe Han a very big favor whenever she calls for it. Meaning I could be putting myself at risk whenever...
Sounds like you're going to owe all of us a very big favor.
It does sound like that. Now, Han is taking that route. However, outside of boons and life debt, I have cash. I got a lot of it. Whatever currency you want, that could also be a way we go for this if you want to cut a deal that particular path.
Could use the
I'll
money.
take the cash.
The cash. I have $250,000 converted over from USD, if that will sweeten the pot for each of you.
Absolutely.
Good.
All right.
In my mind, I might think that might be a way to bail and skip town in case this goes south.
Okay.
So I want half up front.
You want half up front? Oh, I'm tonight because the meeting's tomorrow. I can get it maybe tonight, but for sure tomorrow before we go.
I'm sure you can wire it.
I'll get Carlos on it. Just give me an account number. I'll make sure you get what you need. How do you want your cash there, Landon?
So before you agree to that, I think it might not be Gio's fault.
Are you Gio's lawyer now?
Well, I don't know much about the situation, but I may or may not have gotten into an argument with someone online, and they kind of know exactly where I live. And they were like, blah, 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 the masquerade this, blah, 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 the masquerade that. And I was just kind of going back and forth with them for a few hours, and they figured out where I live. So I haven't been home in a while.
What the fuck, Landon?
Exactly. What?
I mean, we don't have a lot of rules.
I'm going to lash out at Phil. Like, why did you let this baby vampire come stay here? This is exactly why. We don't do these.
His blood checked out. He apparently old. I don't know why. Okay, but Landon.
Yeah, Octavia thinks he's like just a toddler. I can't.
Are you saying that somebody needs to take care of me? Because I do kind of need a place to stay.
You need a place to stay? Is that you need a place to stay, buddy? Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what Octavia believes. So maybe maybe we can crash at your house.
Oh, damn it.
No, there's one thing the Camarilla does correctly, and that is punishment. You should consider it, Philip.
Can we hand him over?
You know, we don't do that here. Unless it's severe. Is
this not severe?
This could be, depending on. I need to know the details of this, Landon.
If you punish me, you have nobody to. We don't know if it was me or if it was Gio. I just wanted to be honest.
We should certainly ask about Gio.
And if you punish me, then you have nobody to take a bullet for you, which is what you're trying to set us up to do.
Now, I'm not trying to set you up, Landon. However, I didn't know that you had a situation online. And it's
probably nothing. They said something about my mom or whatever, and
well, that's most online
things and blah blah blah. Camarilla this and blah blah blah. Anarchs that and you know how they talk, and
No, I don't know how they talk, Landon, about the Camarilla online. I don't know. You have to enlighten me on that one.
I don't remember. Oops.
Oops. This is a separate issue that we're going to have to work out. However, I think this does change things, Landon. I mean, if you need a place to stay, I could probably hook you up. I have an empty apartment in the complex next door, but no hunting or killing anyone inside the complex. This is supposed to be a cover.
Octavia basically offered up her place.
Oh, did you now? And she
said I needed care. I needed to be watched over. So, I mean, it sounds like Octavia was volunteering.
I mean,
you got a fridge, right?
No,
Philip,
no, I don't.
Are we done? May I return to my own business?
I guess, yeah. Now that we've opened up the can of worms about what's going on here, I feel like I'm leaving this knowing a lot less than I thought I knew when I came into this meeting.
One more thing. Where's Geo now? Do we have any idea where Geo is?
Oh, I'll find him.
Last I heard, he was still on the island. He was about to leave.
I'll make sure that doesn't happen.
At the very least, maybe he'll clear my name. I shouldn't have said anything.
You know what? And he takes a deep breath. You could tell that this man might be trying to find some Golconda inside himself, as he kind of manually lets out a breath, and he's like, Landon, you have a lot of promise. You really do. And I love that you go through your unlife with little care for what is going on around. I think that's actually spectacular. However, this is a good opportunity to learn from a mistake. And I think we can all agree that this wasn't the best choice, given that you can't even go home safely at this moment. And by that too, had they threatened you? They said they know where you live?
Well, they said they were going to bang my mom, and then they said they figured out where I lived, and then they said that they know my secret.
They're going to murder your mother.
Is your mother still alive, Landon? How old? I thought you were 200.
No,
okay.
I mean, you know how people talk on the internet.
True. Yes,
I don't think he was talking about killing her.
Okay, so the first threat can be. Okay.
I think maybe you do. She concedes, and I think he does need to have a babysitter.
Is this something that you're saying to them too, or is this an inner monologue? Oh, geez.
No, she's saying it out loud. She can't believe the level of masquerade breach.
Well, here's the thing that you need to know. When I come over, we need to have some nuts because I have a pet squirrel, and then I have 2 buddies that go everywhere I go, and I hope you have plenty of room.
You know what, Octavia? I'll give you I'll wire you 300,000. That seems fair.
Thank you.
Landon, we're gonna have to talk after tomorrow once you debrief me. Hopefully there's debriefing to be had. I assume there will be, but we'll have a talk after the meeting tomorrow. I'd love to know what we could do to try to make you safe at home again, or if we have to sell your place and move you somewhere else, we can do that. I know that our dear friend and colleague Octavia probably doesn't want to have people in her business for too long, so we will try to help you. You won't even
know we're there. You'll have no idea. It's it'll be like business as usual. I promise.
I'm disconnecting all internet as soon as possible.
How am I going to watch my shows? How am I going to watch my shows, Octavia?
That's a you problem.
I do appreciate you all coming out this evening. I appreciate the Bringing your friends around, Landon. I'm glad I could meet Simon and George. They seem like nice fellows. Your squirrel is very adorable. I will say that. That is a positive being around you. Seeing that squirrel ravenously eat those nuts is something I will cherish. But I think the night grows old. I have taken up much of your time already. Octavia, you have my number. Please send me that wiring address. And Landon, do you just want cash?
Are you gonna eat the rest of those blood bags in there?
You want one for the road? You want a roadie?
If you're not gonna eat them,
sure. There's more in there, but he takes out just one and he hands it to you, and he's like, "Yeah, for the road." Octavia, if anything comes up that I should know about, feel free to get a hold of me or Carlos. Carlos will be around. Been feeding him 5-hour energy drinks for the last week, and it seems to be working. He hasn't slept for well over 72 hours. So I think this Vitae meat 5-hour energy drink mix is kind of working. I feel much safer during the day, especially given the current climate of our island. Is there any other questions you might have for me before you leave tonight? Or if not, give me a call tomorrow.
If you would just give us the details of when and where to meet.
Here's the failed threat invite. And he gives you the typed letter, and it says to meet at Club Calvi at 10:30 tomorrow evening.
Okay. She tucks it in her tracksuit.
Okay. And I think you all have sort of a closing scene for this night to sort of hand wave and move things forward at a rapid pace here. And for brevity's sake, is there anything before Landon joins Octavia back at her abode and Han and Leo go back to their abode? Is there anything any of you want to do, or anyone you want to talk to in this facility before you leave Carlos and Phil's place behind?
I do want to keep an eye out for that human that was there before, because now I'm wondering, you can't be too paranoid. He could be influenced by another vampire, so I want to check if he's still there, looking around.
Could you give me an awareness and wits roll?
That is 2 successes.
2 successes.
And I will willpower if I need more.
I'll tell you what 2 successes gets you. First, you don't see the person that was hanging out outside in the parking lot where the apartment complex door enters into the building. But with the second success, I think you notice in the top floor in the corner, there is a light that kind of is creeping through there's a pair of curtains that's just kind of pulled back a little bit, enough for you to notice a slice of someone's face. With 2 successes, it does look to be similar to the man that was out smoking a cigarette previously, and he seems to be watching the goings on in the parking lot, and he's trying to be subtle about it.
I'm going to take out my phone. I'm going to snap a picture of the building so I can locate exactly which apartment that is.
Okay. And you have those gloves that let you operate stuff without any issue. And you snap a picture. And I think at that moment, you probably are able to climb into the car. And Leo is like, "Oh, that wasn't that long. Good news?"
No, most assuredly not. leave the contracts to the other boys tonight. Today, we are going to first look into the resident of this apartment. We're going to scope check them out and see if perhaps they are under the influence of the Camarilla. And we're also going to look into finding and killing Geo.
Geo? What did he do?
Well, I suppose maybe we shouldn't kill him yet. But we are going to find him. We are going to capture him. And if he talks, we'll see where we go from there.
He has a surprised look about him. Usually, Han isn't the kind that talks about killing other kindred, or at least I assume as much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think he can see that she has like the closest she has to a smile in like quite some time. Because she's gotten quite a lot of information and a life debt out of tonight.
Okay.
So, he's having a good time.
Would you say Han has a creepy smile, given her predator look?
I think the smile itself is not creepy. But like it's very clear. Like, I think it's just the fact that it's probably not seen very much is what makes it creepy. Like, if you just saw her at a glance, it wouldn't be scary. But it's like, especially Leo knowing her, it's like,
All right. It's like this person that usually has a serious face, this serious tone, almost always cracks a smile, and it's probably a little awkward for Leo as he doesn't normally see it. And he's like, oh boy, this is getting real over here. And he starts to pull out and drive you back home. As you are smiling and looking into the night and thinking about all of the delicious opportunity you have here. And also, there is that thought in your mind, perhaps, of trying to figure out what the hell Landon was talking about. Maybe perhaps trying to figure out what was going on with Geo. But I digress. Anyone else want to do anything last minute before you leave the facility, or anything else you want to do tonight that is away from this facility?
Yes, I would like to catch up with what my group was doing, including Natty, while we were in there. Because I know Natty was making some friends, thanks to Han.
When you came out, she was playing Flip Cup off of the kitchen island, and dribbling what appears to be beer or something onto the floor and onto the countertop. And Carlos is like a human Roomba, just like kind of like sneak in there and like wipe up the surface. And it's just like, I'm taking like the empties away, and seemingly always pulling out a little pocket watch and like staring at the time and sighing to himself before going on to the next little mess. And Natty's there with Gregory and Simon. I almost called him George and Simon because I'm stuck in Phil brain right now.
Is Natty like maybe flirting with somebody or something?
I think I'm gonna roll a chance die on that.
Okay.
No, she's not. No, she just seems to be having a fun time. But she does seem to be, as soon as she sees you, after she like puts she flips a cup and she's like, I won. And she looks over and she's like, you can tell that she is a little inebriated, not like she's not wasted. You weren't in that meeting for that long, but probably enough time for her to have had a drink or two. And she tries to go in for a hug, for a celebratory hug on you. How does that go?
I'd let her hug me, and I give her one arm.
Oh,
on the small of her back.
Natty finally got a little win tonight. Okay. And she's seemingly full of joy and happy, and she's just like, I'm so glad you brought me here. These people are cool. This is Jeff. This is what was your name? Fred? Okay. And she's trying to introduce you to these people, and their names will likely go in one ear and out the other. Given
she wasn't flirting, but I feel a little hint of jealousy. Maybe that's why I gave her the hug.
Ooh, ooh. And I was gonna say all of the like the guys that were playing with her, and like it's a mix of guys and girls. They're objectively hot,
Yeah.
and half of them aren't wearing their shirts; they're wearing like swim shorts and stuff like that. So yeah, I could see that being maybe something that plays here, but she just asks like she's like, it's like getting late. Should we go, or where are we crashing?
Well, we got to go to Octavia's house. And immediately she's like, "Who's Octavia?"
Yeah, right. Like, I think I met her. Maybe.
Well, she's got a place. She's got a place for us to crash.
Wait, we're all going to her house to crash? Is there another party?
You're the one driving. I'm tired. A lot's happened. I'm pretty tired.
I mean, I could probably drive in like an hour. I should probably wait.
Oh, don't worry. Freddie can drive.
Very funny.
No, he can't.
Squirrel can't drive.
No, Gregor Simon can. I'm pretty sure like Simon can push the pedals while
they're
Gregory
drunk.
steers the wheel.
They're more drunk than
drunk?
I am. They said they were partying beforehand. They said that they had a party that they were at, and they came here.
Octavia, wait! Can we ride with you?
Yeah, I guess they're screaming out for you as you're trying to head out the door, Octavia. Up to you if you were actually heading out the door. I don't know.
I think she would have. She was going to stop and talk to Carlos and give her account information, but she also wanted to ask him if he knew what was going on and if he's observed any suspicions around, Phil's place or heard anything in town.
Let's figure that out. So I think in between, like, so Landon, as you were having the interaction with Natty, this conversation was happening with Carlos, with Octavia on the side, as like they exited the office space. And Carlos is like he has a handful of like solo cups stacked on each other and like 2 bottles in his hand. And he's like, yes, Octavia, could I help you?
And I hand him a slip of paper with my account information. He said, Phil asked me to give this to you.
Oh.
To my account.
Wire transfer, I imagine.
Yes. And are you aware of why we were called here? I'm being very open with him. I'm trying to pick his brain as to what he might know, more information.
In like hushed tones, he kind of like is trying to pull you to the side. And he's like, so we knew about this only just yesterday that it actually went through. I can only tell from the paper trail that perhaps Gio made this deal, started maybe 3 months ago. So this was something that was in the works. I would have thought he would have looked into them closer. We all typically do with these sort of things. It's weird that we had to be the last filter to catch it.
Yes. You know who from the CAM is here representing them?
Ooh. I got to make a roll for our friend here. I don't think he does. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be at a difficulty 4, and he only has 4 dice here. I mean,
or just as far as what he's observed, if that's.
So he got a modicum amount of successes, but not enough to know exactly who is in town. And he just relays that with this, it's under a shell company, so it could really be anyone. But the only thing I can assume is if they know Phil's real name from the past, then they have to be from France. Maybe even from Marseille. That's all I could say.
And Octavia's tension lessens a little. She was thinking perhaps it might be someone she knows. So she says thank you. And while clocking Landon's conversation, she's trying to make a quick exit.
Okay, and that's when you hear Landon at that point go, like, shout, "Hey, Octavia," from the kitchen area.
Wait up. Hey,
I'm
we
gonna-
need a lift.
She's gonna freeze in her tracks and sigh and point to Landon and only Landon and ask him to come talk to her.
Okay.
She's a
I'll be
very
right back, guys.
pretty person.
Hey, we need a lift to your place.
I walked here. I don't
Oh.
have a lift right now.
Oh.
There's going to be some ground rules here. And you already know that things are a mess now, but what I need you to understand is we really need to keep this on the down low. And I understand you have your two friends with you, but that young lady, she shouldn't know where I live or where we're going to be staying.
Okay.
So say your goodnights, and if you want to walk with me, we'll walk back to my place.
All right. Landon responds to the authority. Maybe it's something he needed. All right, let's go.
Hopefully the conversation has jolted some self-preservation into him that this is not going to be easy.
Hey, we got Natty, we gotta go.
Where are we going?
I've got to go to my new place, and you can't come.
But you're ditching me for her?
Not exactly.
I'll put my hand on her shoulder and say, it's nothing like that. We were called here. We have some work to do, and we can't have any distractions. And if you understand, he will be in contact with you, just not tonight, and probably not tomorrow night.
And she goes, "You have a job?"
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yes. She kind of inquires, what do you guys even do?
She's like, "It's midnight." And then Simon goes, "He's a gigolo," thinking it's real funny to say that. And then don't listen to him. And that breaking of the tension allows us to leave with Natty disappointed again.
She just says, as you're leaving, she's like, text me tomorrow or something. Love to hang out again.
Okay.
Maybe just us next time. And maybe Freddie.
Okay.
And so you start leaving with Octavia. Are you now, as far as Simon and Gregory are concerned, you're just saying goodbye to them too, or were they part of the package here for you? And
they're coming along, from what I understand, right?
If they must.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah, they're coming along.
Okay.
Ready.
And
Natty, I guess she thought any kind of funny business between me and Natty would just be too much, right?
Maybe it makes it easier for Natty to see you leaving with a group of people rather than just her.
That's true. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
A very small W in this whole situation.
Baby W. Meanwhile, you're leaving this place on foot. Natty has been left behind with the hot boys. And so we'll see where that goes. But as far as her interest in you, she does try to say goodbye to you with a hug. Does she get one reciprocated or no?
She gets one here.
Okay.
Still a lazy hug, but she gets one nonetheless. And then when she's walking back to everybody, I turn around to look.
Okay, and she watches you as you turn the corner down the hallway. There is like there's vibes there coming off of her, and she's hoping to see that reciprocated with you looking back.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, I think that probably sums up what this evening looks like. On foot, you're going back with Octavia through the windy streets of Corsica, and in the body mobile leaves Leo and Han. Maybe Han is looking at that picture too at some point in time of that person, and like zooms in on the person, and you see the person like looking very concerned out the window. But I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up our session at that point. And I think what we'll do is at the beginning of our next session, we'll get into this meeting. And then I think we'll see where things go. We might have a bit of a time jump. We'll see what happens. I do like to see how this goes organically. But we will eventually talk about leaping into the future just a little bit. But with that said, this is our first session for Chronicle 3, and if you have enjoyed this session, I would recommend giving us a follow or a like on YouTube, wherever you're seeing this. I will have all of their socials, permitting their permission, also in the chat for you to look at, and give them a follow and let them know if you liked what they did. They sure probably would love it. And also, as a last note, we did all this for No Kid Hungry. It is a charity to raise money for food insecure kids in North America. Every dollar is 10 meals for a kid out there that is food insecure. So that's huge. Any small donation is massive. And even just being here, those follows or just, participating in the live stream, that all goes to support this channel and that cause. So thank you to all my players, especially, but also everybody that has moved the indicator forward a little bit closer towards solving hunger. With that said, good night, everybody, and make sure you keep your own hunger sated, lest you frenzy. All right. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Thanks.
Cut.